Hi, my name is Reno, also known as DJ Renoir, and I have a confession to make. I believe that Speedway is the most important street in all of Austin, Texas. It's not 7th Street. It's not MLK. It's not even Guadalupe, the drag. It's Speedway. I believe that Speedway is transformative and it shapes you in life. There are so many events that have happened to me on that one road that have changed me forever. I remember running for my life during the May Day attacks. I remember running late for exams, seeing professors I hadn't seen in a long time and waving to them. And there's just so much that has happened to me on Speedway that it's unfathomable. Like, I remember one time I was walking to the library, the PCL, and I got stopped by this person who was telling me about this Christian organization, and I joined their little concert for a bit. And when I was just swaying in the crowd, just listening to the music, I ran into a friend from class I hadn't seen in like a week. We caught up during that concert, and then we were like, hey, we both got to study for that exam. And then we said goodbye to those lovely people and went to study at the PCL. Another transformative moment that happened to me on Speedway was one I don't really like talking about too much, but it happened, and it made me better for that. I was invited to a Cave Rex party. It was going to be at Lydia's house. It was a King of the Hill themed party, and I dressed up as what I thought a King of the Hill member would look like. I've never seen the show. So I wore some sweats, some boots, and I wore a tank top with a trucker hat. And I remember I was walking down Speedway, listening to Hank Williams Jr. and some other country artists like Johnny Paycheck, just listening to those artists talk about their life and their struggles, and trying to think about my own life and how it's gone. And as I'm walking through Speedway, I'm seeing all these families passing by me, and all these families are congratulating their children who had just graduated from UT. And that was the year I was supposed to graduate, and I sadly did not graduate that year. I had some trouble in classes and in life that prevented me from achieving what I wanted to. And in walking on Speedway, thinking about that, I had a long, long talk with myself in my head about, Reno, this can't happen again. You and I cannot go through this moment watching all these people graduate and us not graduate. And on that day, in that moment, I made a plan for myself and how I was going to graduate UT. I started to reflect and change everything that was not going right, and I made it a plan to get it fixed. And that is why I get to say that this is my final show on KVRX, because I made those changes. Thank you, Lydia, so much for inviting me to that party, because otherwise I do not think I would have had that moment on Speedway, and I do not think I would have graduated. It's partly because of her that I am a UT graduate. So thank you, Lydia, thank you, Speedway, and thank you to everyone who's been in my life. So many things have happened to me on Speedway. I have run into many friends on Speedway and just got lost in talking to them and not going to my class or wherever I was supposed to go. I've had so many tablers tell me their life story. I remember there was this one tabler named Sebastian. He was part of the rowing team for UT, and he could not swim either, and he was also vertically challenged like me. And me and him talked about life and what I could do to be part of the organization. I've been part of the KVRX little booth during some event as a tabler on Speedway. I've done it all. There's even a camel that shows up sometimes on Speedway, which is always a lot of fun. I've been lucky on Speedway so many times. I have not found $5 exactly, but I've found a wallet before. I tried to return it to its owner, but he didn't reach back out to me. I have kicked the ground at pieces of paper thinking it's nothing and found gift cards in them. I have found all types of people's student IDs that I've returned. I have found so many things on Speedway. I've had so many great songs on repeat during Speedway. Little Uzi Vert, How to Talk, Dark Queen. That whole Love is Rage 2 album was on constant repeat on Speedway. Lately, I would say I've been listening to a lot more folk music. So when I was trying to make some playlists for friends, I would use Speedway as kind of my road to drive on. I would imagine myself while walking as trying to drive, kind of. What's something I think more people should know about? I think more people should know about themselves. I think people rarely take inventory of who they are, what they actually want, what they're actually passionate about, what they actually care about. They don't really ever think about their needs. They rarely ever take inventory of themselves. And I think more people should sit down and think, who am I? What am I? What do I want to do? And how am I going to achieve that? People need to start taking care of themselves, and in doing so, I think they'll start taking care of others. And for any parting wisdom, I would say that there's this quote in my doctor's office that really got my attention. It says, if your dreams don't scare you, you aren't dreaming big enough. And I firmly believe that. If your dreams aren't big enough and they don't scare you, dream bigger. Dream bigger. I'd never thought I'd get into UT. My password for most things was sad boy, because I didn't think I'd get in here, but I did. Achieve, dream it, you'll get it. That's all I got.
What events do you remember? This one time at some ungodly hour, I saw 3 people riding down Speedway on a single Lime scooter, and then 2 people behind them on a skateboard were kind of holding on to them from behind and catching a free ride, which isn't exactly an event, but that moment changed me on a spiritual level. Everything I thought was physically impossible was, at least in that moment, within reach. What tabler gave you their life story? So honestly, I've never been on time to anything ever in my life. So every time I'm on Speedway, I'm running late for something. So I have to avoid eye contact with tablers at all costs. No time to stop and chat. Did I ever get lucky and find $5? I once found someone's wallet and it had a bunch of cash, but unfortunately for me, I was not able enough to keep it, and instead I made sure it made it back to its rightful owner. Any chance encounters with a friend? Yeah, running into people I know on Speedway is one of my absolute favorite things. Even just smiling and waving at each other from far away changes my whole mood, makes my day better. What songs were on repeat? So last time I was on campus was in spring semester, and I was listening to a lot of the Murder Capital back then because I was really excited about seeing them a bunch of times at South by Southwest. Of course, it ended up getting canceled, and I'm still not over it. Any parting wisdom? Yeah, the best advice I can give to anyone is to keep listening to KVRX.
There's this one event that this like pro-Israel group does. Like, I'm not gonna get political here, but they have a camel, and I think it's just a really magical thing to see a camel on Speedway. I appreciate that. And what tabler gave you their life story? Honestly, I tend to stay away from the tablers, especially now. Like, I guess freshman year, I probably talked to them the most, and that was so long ago that I barely remember. But yeah, I tend to stay away from the tablers, which honestly most people do, which is kind of sad because tabling can be a pretty boring thing. So like, if you see a tabler looking lonely and you have the time, just go and talk to them. Just see what's up. Give them some company, because they're just trying to do their part. And did you ever get lucky and find $5? I feel like no one has ever found $5 on Speedway. Like, you'd have to get there at the perfect time. You'd have to be really lucky. Like, the luckiest I've been on Speedway is just being there when people are handing out like those Nature Valley Crunch bars. Like, I will go up and down Speedway like twice and go to the person on either side just so I can maximize my gains right there. And any chance encounters with a friend. I mean, it's always nice to see people you know down Speedway, but honestly, for me, it can be kind of dangerous because I will just turn around and walk with them to their class and talk to them and end up being like 15 minutes late to my class. It's been so long since I set foot on those beautiful yellow bricks that honestly, I have no idea what I was listening to. But I'll tell you that if things were normal and I was walking on Speedway every day, I would definitely be listening to Oh For Real by Rico Nasty, because ever since her new album has come out, I've been listening to that song like 15, 20 times in a row per day, just like hyping myself up. Like, that song gives me a violent outburst of pure energy, and I've been living off of that for the past like week. It's really been getting me going. Something that I think more people should know is that you don't actually have to walk on Speedway to get everywhere. Like, you can take a shortcut in between a building. There's so many paths to get to your class. Rush hour on Speedway is like shoulder to shoulder. Now that we're in the situation that we're in, like, just the thought of that many people just like breathing on each other is honestly terrifying. And I'm not sure if I'm ready to experience that. That's going to be an overload. Honestly, kind of relating back to the thing I said about Speedway being so busy, my parting wisdom is that, I mean, this isn't really when Speedway was not busy, but like, do not ride a bike on Speedway. I've seen too much. Like, most of the time when I see somebody riding a bike on Speedway, it's not even getting them anywhere faster. They're just starting and stopping and starting and stopping. They might as well get off the bike and start pushing that thing. But I've seen so many people on bikes just like run into the back of people just walking and minding their own business. So just stop it. Just please. Also, I would say the same thing about scooters, but I'm pretty sure that you can't ride them on campus anymore. But like, I'm not 100% sure on that. But I've seen so many people, myself included, just like absolutely wipe out on one of those things. So stay away from Lime scooters. They're ugly. People just leave them everywhere. I'm not a fan, and they're just not safe. So yeah, that is my parting
What
wisdom.
events do you remember? So much happened my freshman year. So much. And I was so sad that I didn't live near Speedway. I lived kind of off campus, and so I didn't have like a ton of excuses to go through Speedway because all my classes were kind of like in Moody, also on the edge of campus. But I remember the Jonas Brothers came. I don't know if it was the Jonas Brothers, maybe it was one Jonas, maybe Nick, one brother. And he was just walking around with Matthew McConaughey, and I saw these pictures of him. I was like, oh, that's super cool. Why are they here? Why is UT, the happening place right now? I saw David Dobrik, and that was super cool. I was on my way to West Campus. I saw him. I saw this yellow Jeep, and I saw these people like talking to, like, a big group of people talking to this person in the Jeep, and I was like, that's super weird. What are you doing? And then I saw him stick his head out the window, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's David Dobrik, and that was super cool. I guess he's famous. He's considered a famous person, but yeah, I don't see famous people very often, and that was cool for me. What tabler gave you their life story? Okay, as someone who was tabled, please approach the tablers. Please. It's so sad when no one comes to talk to you about your thing that you love and you're excited about, because we just do it for you, because we just want to share this super cool thing for you that maybe you could join. No one really gave me their life story. Actually, I went to the IM tabling thing my freshman year, for who knows why, because I'm not sporty, but apparently that was the day that I was like, I'm gonna start. And I was at the Quidditch table, which makes sense because of all the sports. Of course I would go to the Quidditch table, and this guy, I remember he told me about his like life story. It wasn't like his life story, it was like his UT story of his rise in Quidditch, and like how, like, all the things that it's gotten for him, and like all the friends that he's had, just kind of like, I don't know, all the good things that have come from Quidditch for him, and that was kind of super cool to hear. I love Harry Potter, so, it was interesting. There was a guy that trapped me at the ballroom table at the ballroom dance club, I think that's what it was, but I can't dance, and I was desperately like trying to leave, and he wouldn't let me. Like, literally hurt myself from dancing so many times, and I was stuck there for like 20 minutes. So, tabling, it's good and bad. It's good and bad. Did you ever get lucky and find $5? Well, I wasn't on Speedway a ton, so that would be super lucky, but no. Any chance encounters with a friend? Apparently everyone I knew goes to the gym except for me. Or no, everyone I know but me goes to the gym. Every single time I was there on Speedway, I'd see someone either leaving the gym or going to the gym to work out. And I was like, I don't know if this is like a sign that I should go as well, because this happens so often, but I don't know, that's where I would always see people, which was kind of fun. I like seeing people on Speedway that I know. Any songs on repeat? I get super anxious on Speedway, like by myself, because there's so many people, and like, yeah, I love tabling and I love like seeing people that I know, but like when you're on your way somewhere and you're kind of on a time crunch, I don't know, I just get really anxious and there's so many people and I don't know where to look because I don't want to be creepy and stare at people like in the eyes that I don't know because that's weird, and I don't want to stare straight into the distance because that feels like, I don't know, doesn't make sense to me. So I like to listen to like calming music. So I don't know, Phoebe Bridgers, highly recommend if you're one to be anxious. I love her. What's something you think more people should know? I think more people should know that like your life would be so much better if you did things that you found funny. Like, even if no one else finds it funny, and as long as it like doesn't affect anyone else, if just you find it funny, like just to make yourself laugh for that day, it makes your life significantly better. One of my friends and I this semester, I like put her hair into Liberty spikes, which is like this early 2000s 90s, I think 90s hair trend where you just put your hair in spikes all over your head, kind of like Lady Liberty. And then we did that, and I just walked around campus and just all these people they were yelling things at us, and they would like say weird things, or like sometimes you get like a yeah that's sick, like a cool comment, I don't know, and it was just so funny to see people's reactions. And so I just think it's so worth it to do things that are like, there's no reason to, there's no point, but if you find it funny, like just do it because it'll make your day better.
Hi, I'm DJ UFO, and I'm here to talk about Speedway. Foremost, Speedway is the most sacred and beautiful part of campus, to me at least. I believe Speedway is a way of transformation, a way of initiation, and a true focal point of the UT campus. I believe your first and last walk on Speedway are points in your life that become touchstones for your past and future selves. One of my favorite memories that I've had on Speedway follows this sort of narrative. It was as I finished my last final of my very first semester at UT. It was a biology 311C final, and I took an ingester in a room I'd never been before. And I walked out alone to the largely vacated Speedway, and the golden path lay ahead of me, and I checked out one of those bikes from the little bike station outside of Jester. And I don't really ride bikes. I've done this, I think, maybe 3 times in my life, but something told me to get on a bike, and so I did. And I rode all the way up Speedway towards the intersection of Dean Keaton on that bike, and it was so beautiful and liberating. And I felt the wind in my hair, and it felt like everything was new, that I had entered a portal and come out on the other side a distinctly different woman. Speedway is special because it allows you to meet people, experience people, witness. I mean, you're a witness on Speedway, right? To all kinds of crazy little things. One of my favorite experiences with tablers on Speedway is one in which I was the tabler, and I was at the mercy of everyone walking past me. So I'm a vice president for a service organization called Oxfam. Oxfam is an international aid organization, and I lead our local chapter with my best friend Julia. I was on Speedway tabling, trying to get people to join our organization, and this boy comes up to me, and he was like, "You have the prettiest smile I have ever seen in my life. Can I please take you out?" And I was like, all right. And that was really sweet. I never had anyone tell me that before. I think my memories of Speedway are distinctly romantic because that's just how my mind paints things. For example, like, you know, when you follow the same paths every couple days, or you have a certain schedule where you anticipate seeing things, people, objects, etc. Like, there comes a point when you travel on Speedway at the same time every day and start seeing the same people. So I've had Speedway crushes, you know. I think there was actually a time I was walking to class, and I love doing this, you know, making sustained, invasive eye contact with people you don't know, and just holding that for as long as possible. And so I did that one time, and it was so intense. The moment was so forbidding. I was like, hey, you're so cute. And we just walked past each other, and he just looked at me. He didn't even say a word. He just heard my voice and walked past. And that was enough for both of us. Another moment of romanticism on Speedway. This might be one of my favorite moments. I was walking to class, and it was like in the middle of the day, in between classes, you know, that Speedway rush when people are just shoulder to shoulder. And I was seeing this dude at the time, and he was traveling down Speedway on a skateboard. And I never run into him on campus yet. You know, we were both UT students. And, you know, had been chilling for a while. And I never, like, ran into him on campus. And so, of course, we had a sweet Speedway run-in. Like, we were coming from opposite directions. And, like, encountered each other head-on. And he hopped off his skateboard and kissed me in the middle of Speedway, just because. And that moment was so profound and simple and sweet to me. I don't think I'll ever forget it. Another moment, chance encounter I've had on Speedway was deep in the night. I think it was 9 or 10 p.m. Pitch black outside except for the little lights that shine from the canopy above us. And I was just on a walk, you know, just taking in the night and the breeze. And I heard my name. Someone called my name. And I was like, oh, goodness gracious, who could that be? I turn around, and it's one of my dear friends, Taylor, who's a now graduated KVRX DJ. And she was also on a walk. And we were just, you know, we wanted to encounter Speedway at that moment in the night. And so from there, we walked together, and we walked all around campus that night, just because we could. And that felt so divine. I think Speedway has a sort of magic in making everything seem divine and seem providential. There are some songs that I always return to while on Speedway. I actually have a playlist called Speedway Songs, but one of my favorites is James Bond by Iggy Pop, because when you're playing sort of song that makes you, like, fantasize the current reality and body that you're in, it makes everything, you know, seem like a magical forest. And so listening to that song, it makes me feel bigger than I am. And it makes me look at other people around me and wonder things about them. And be like, hey, are you feeling this way as well? It's also fun to listen to dance songs on Speedway, because suddenly the yellow bricks become a dance floor. On Speedway, it's pretty hard not to, like, outwardly emote and show signs of, like, what you're feeling. So you can be listening to this really emotional, really provoking song, and just want to like lift your hands to the sky or sing out loud or dance or just, prove to the world that this is what you're feeling right now. Which is also to say, I feel we should outwardly display our emotions on Speedway like that, because you'll never have that opportunity ever again, ever. I've sung to myself on Speedway. I think that's important as well, because the world needs to hear your voice, I think. So, that's me. I'm DJ UFO, and that's why I love Speedway. I think it's sacred, I think it's revealing, and I think it's the center point of UT. Thank you for listening.